up, my people? It is another episode of the Ladder Podcast. It is your host, Justin Strickland, and I am belated to be before you today. I've been enjoying the Olympics. I hope you've been watching the best of the best compete at all sports. Just learned a new sport today, the steeplechase. They was jumping over random hurdles, and one of them was in water. I don't know why, but it was a thing. It's just dope to see kind of like the best of the best train for their whole life, really, for this moment that really doesn't last that long. And even still, it's worth all the training. It's worth all the sacrifice. And I got to see the 1,500 meter race today, and USA ended up getting gold and bronze. But it was interesting because Norway, the cat from Norway, he led the race. It was a 1,500 meter race. He led it for probably 1,400 meters. Like, he was out in front for about 1,400 meters. And in that last little bit, everybody just had more. The two guys from USA, and I want to say the other guy was from Great Britain, just kicked on him, hawked him, passed him, and he ended up getting fifth or sixth. Like, the guy from Norway had been leading the whole race, and these other people just kicked on him. And it just reminded me, like, as leaders, it's great to get out in front. We all want a fast start. We all want to run the fastest, but it's the leaders who finish, really, that really can capture what it looks like to be a champion, that capture what it looks like to get the job done. And we don't want to run out of gas. It was another cat in there from Kenya, and he was second, and I was hopeful. I was like, hey, he's going to kick on the guy from Norway. Like, he's gonna get him at the end. And by about the third lap, he just faded. Like, he went the wrong way. He was second, neck to neck, hip to hip. Then he was a step behind, and then he was like a person behind, 2, 3, 4. And it was like, yo, he just died. And the crazy part, this ain't got nothing to do with the episode today. But it was just interesting to watch. Like, these are the best of the best, and even still, there's a differentiation between greatness. And I think we underestimate what that looks like. Like, even at the top, there are levels to this. And so I want to encourage you all to put in the work, to take the time, be patient with yourself, but also make sure you pace yourself so that you can finish your race. All right, let's jump into the episode today. That was just me just talking about real life, but I hope you enjoyed it. Today's episode, I'm talking about how to transition as a leader. So, how to transition as a leader. I was talking to someone this week, and we were talking about a leader coming in and trying to make some transition, and they were unhappy with the way the transitions were going, and rightfully so. It was not a lot of communication. It seemed very aligned with selfish ambition, control, those kind of things that when you experience from a leader, it gives you a bad taste in your mouth. And so I wanted to come on today and talk about the different types of transitions that leaders can go through. And I'm going to give you 3 ways to handle any transition properly. So let's start with the different types of transition. The first type of transition that a leader can go through is a role reassignment. And this one is always interesting. So this could be you elevating someone to a different role, you're demoting someone to a different role, or you're just reassigning duties. You have to be careful with this, because when you're reassigning duties or changing roles, what you're saying is you still want to keep this person on board. Like, you still want to keep them as part of the team. And so you have to walk gently through this so that they don't feel as if you are losing trust in them or faith in them, but you just want to move them and change them into a different role. And the reason that you have to walk kind of gently through this is it can be hard if you've been doing something and you've been doing your best, and then your boss comes or your leader comes and says, hey, I don't want you to do that anymore. I want you to do this. Even if you'll be better at this, or even if doing this would be less stressful for you, there's a pride that kicks up to you like, no, don't take that from me. It's like when I played basketball my whole life, and you playing 5-on-5 and one of your homeboys is getting cooked. Y'all playing the 21 and old boy got 12 on him. You're like, hey, bro, switch. Most people be like, no, bro, we ain't switching. And it's like, fam, you gonna make us lose because of your ego? And the answer is yes. Yes, they are. They are fully committed to making y'all lose because of your ego. And so as a leader, you have to figure out how to get this person to switch, but keep them playing defense. Okay. And that is not easy to do. That's not easy to do. But if you are an excellent leader, it is possible. And so that's the first kind of transition. The second one is when you are firing or hiring people. And so when you fire someone, one thing that I've always thought about leaving any job or coming into a new job is like, you want to make sure, even if you're firing someone, that that person, all the stuff they can say about you that's bad has to be made up. It has to be false. It has to be fabricated. And so as a leader, you want to document, you want to communicate. I want to get to my threes, but you want to document all the things that you're talking them through, that you're trying to develop them through. And if you're letting them go, you let them know exactly why. Hey, I'm letting you go because of this. I needed you to do this and you didn't do it. And so I'm letting you go. And it's not personal. It's business. It's my job to lead this team. And I want you to be successful. It's just not going to be here. And when you bring in somebody new, it's the same kind, but on the flip. It's like, we're bringing you in because we think you can be valuable to this team. What are the resources you need? How can we help you be successful? And so that is a transition that organizations are going through all the time, especially all my higher ed peeps. Shout out to y'all tuning in. Turnover is huge in higher ed, and especially student affairs, student-facing positions. And so you're always hiring, firing, going through that kind of that dance. You got to make sure your people have resources, even if they're leaving or coming into your team. You want to make sure they have the resources to be successful. And then the last one, which I think is like the most important one as a leader. And you're like, what the other two are? No, this is by far the most important transition as a leader is who's next. And so as a leader, identifying who's next and training who's next is the most important thing you can do in whatever position you're on whatever team you're leading. Because you got to think bigger than yourself, longer than your ability to lead what's going to be next. And if you're able to see it and think it, then you can develop someone who can keep it going and take it further than you are taking it. Just like you feel like you took your position and you've done better than the person before you, you want to train up somebody to be better than you. And you want to do it intentionally, right? And you want to do it with a plan. So if you're like, in 3 years, this is going to be your role, I'm stepping out. When 3 years come, you got to step out. You can't hold on to it. You got to let them be who you've helped develop them to be, okay? And so now I'm going to give you the 3 ways to deal with any of those transitions well, with excellence, okay? The first one, I kind of hinted on it, is you got to communicate early and often. All transition is hard. Change is difficult for all humans of all time. But if you communicate early and often, it is just much easier for everybody involved to process. It is much easier for everybody involved to understand what's going on. Even if they might not agree, they understand what is going on, why it's going on, and where it is going. And so communicating early and often can really nip a lot of those things in the bud that become issues or problems later down the road. Because even if it's a role reassignment, a termination, or a new leader, you communicating early lets everybody know this is coming. That's like if you fire somebody, but you wrote them up 4 times and you told them, hey, next time I got to write you up for this, I got to let you go. When the next time they do it and you write them up for it and you let them go, they can't act surprised. No one around them can be like, bro, he fired him for no reason. What is he thinking? Or I can't believe she let so-and-so go, because everybody knows, hey, she told you stop doing that. I mean, she told everybody, hey, I've had to talk to them about this. This is my expectation. If this happens again, I'm going to have to let. So when it happens, everybody knows, right? Everybody might not agree. That might be your homeboy on the job, but you like, hey, bro, you got to go. You shouldn't have did that. So communicate early and often is super important. Number 2 is make sure that what you're doing aligns with the mission and vision of the team. Too often, this is an issue with new leaders. They come in and they want to completely clear house, bring all their people in. are there people there that are aligned to the mission and vision of the team or organization? If the answer is yes, then you don't need to be letting them go. You need to be figuring out how you can get them on the same page with what you're doing and how you're leading now, right? And it's the same with anything else. Even if you're not new, but you think there needs to be some change. Ask yourself, am I changing stuff just to change stuff? Or am I changing stuff because I need to realign us to the mission and vision? And what does that look like? What roles do I need to fill people in? What new people do I need to hire? What people do I need to transition out? Do I need to transition as a leader so that the mission and vision of this team and organization continue to go forth? That is a hard question. And sometimes we can really justify some of our actions, but I want you to be looking the opposite way. I want you to be looking for a reason why not to do this with the mission and vision. And if you can't find one, then that's when you do it. And because sometimes as leaders, we get too innovative and we're not consistent. And some organizations, some teams need consistency, not innovation. And so you have to really, really know what you're doing. Like I said, I always say leadership is an art form. You got to know how you're painting so that you can get the masterpiece that you're dreaming of. And the last thing is be thinking of the future. No matter what you do as leaders, I said this on the podcast, 2 podcasts ago, and I was talking about Joe Biden and the Democratic Party. Your job as a leader is to stare in the face of present and be courageous about the future. And so no matter what transitioning you're going through, you have to be thinking about the future. What is the future of this organization, the future of this team, and how can I impact it for the better today with the way I handle this transition? And because if you're able to do that, then what happens is each transition you get a little better. Each transition, you grow a little more, you learn a little more, your organization improves a little more, gets a little bit more aligned to the mission, gets a little bit more aligned to the vision, and you're getting better. And that's what can be the hard part of transition, is why a lot of people are scared of it, is a lot of times you have to take so many steps backwards through transition because of so many things involved. Well, if you are thinking about the future when you transition, then you don't have to take so many steps back and you can really move forward, which is the goal of any transition. And so I think as leaders, transition is super important. And I know that it's something that we take seriously as leaders. And I know it's something that we want to do well. And so hopefully I gave you some tools today that will help you in your transition so that you can be successful. Because as a leader, that's what I want for you. The more successful, the more excellent leaders we have in the world, the better everyone's life is. And so I want you to know, new merch is out. Shout out to the Fitted. Go to the shop in case you haven't stopped over there. And I love y'all. I'm so excited for the growth of the pod. If you haven't heard, you can now listen to audio. So if you're like, man, I don't like YouTube, I don't like watching. If you do Apple Podcasts or Spotify, it's on there. And so you can check it out there. You can subscribe there. And we're going to keep growing this thing because I love what I'm doing. And I really, 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 really think that I'm helping people. And I'm hoping that I'm helping you. So it's Justin Strickland, the host of The Ladder. I hope you grew as a leader today. And until next time, I'm honored and privileged. I'll see you, man. Peace.